exciting news about the launch of my website. So I have been dropping some very unsubtle hints to let you guys know about my website that's been revamped and rebuilt and has a lot of additional content added to the courses that were currently available. So those of you that have signed up for the course, you'll be fully aware of all the incredible content that's on the course. Well, I've added even more to it. And for this week only, there is an opportunity for you guys watching to join my VIP groups. The VIP groups are the place where people can post videos on unlimited amount of videos that they can post on as many dogs as they want, they train, and receive feedback from me, and to be part of this incredibly supportive community within both my VIP groups for foundation and for heel work. Now, for this week only, there is an exclusive offer for anybody that signs up for the course. You will be able to get access to the VIP groups absolutely free, all right? So when you sign up for the course as a bonus, as a free bonus, you're gonna get access to the VIP group absolutely free. So I did this earlier in the year, and this is the only time it's probably gonna be launched again in this manner for this year. So hopefully you can sign up. But as in addition to that, and there's a new opportunity or gift for those of you that want to sign up for both courses, there is a really amazing offer where you can join both courses, get both VIP groups for a very specific discount. And when you go to the sign up page, there's going to be an email over this week where you're going to get the coupon to be able to sign up for that exclusive access. All right, so lots of exciting stuff. I'm going to put the web address up on the board shortly. But before that, I'm going to give you a little glimpse into the type of content that I provide on my VIP groups. And this webinar is specifically on frustration, okay? Frustration and the use of it in dog training. So frustration is something that a lot of people steer away from harnessing. Let me just write that. Frustration is something that people misunderstand and often steer away from harnessing and utilising with their dog training. And in fairness, there is some things that you need to consider when we talk about frustration and the causes of frustration and how we can actually use it to our advantage. So frustration is typically something that people avoid, and that's absolutely wise for those of people that are inexperienced in training dogs or certainly don't have this knowledge that I'm providing in this webinar. The misconception about frustration is that it's the evil thing, the elephant in the room that we don't talk about and we avoid at all costs. But in actual fact, we can utilise frustration to get better behaviour for those of us that do dog sports, and also help our dogs circumvent life without getting into issues and teaching them to cope with situations which may cause them to be frustrated. Frustration can generally be caused by several things, and we are aware of which factor is affecting our dogs being frustrated. We can reduce it and then systematically and strategically introduce frustration into their learning to teach them to cope with it. I equate frustration to anybody that does exercise or wanting to get stronger. Frustration is the equivalent of adding a little bit of stress to our body, and what happens is your body adapts and it then develops muscle and you become stronger and you're able to lift more weights or to run faster, etc, etc. It's a necessary process to develop your own strength, to add a little bit of stress to your system so that your body can adjust. Frustration can be applied to dog training in a similar way. If there's too much, you expose your body to too much stress, it will break down. If you're not exposing them to enough, you're not going to see any adjustments, so you're not going to get stronger and be able to cope with more. So frustration is one of those things that is generally misunderstood, and hopefully this is going to clarify some of those things for you. The first thing to say about frustration is in the early phases of my dog's learning, I absolutely minimised the dog's frustration levels. So early stages, minimal, no frustration, okay? And I can do that, my writing's quite a bit wonky, minimal or no frustration. I can do that by applying the Bob Baileyism or think, plan, do, review. If I think about what I want to train and plan it cautiously and be really careful about my training, I can minimise the amount of frustration my dog is experiencing. And I absolutely, when the dog is learning, I want to reduce the dog's frustration. Frustration is often caused by dogs having a lack of clarity or they want the reinforcement and they don't understand how to process information, or something that causes them to be frustrated. Lead activity is often a sign of frustration when your dog wants to get the other dog. We can use our dog's frustration to our advantage to create focus, to teach them how to process information when they are frustrated or when they're getting over-aroused. So frustration is applicable to not only behaviour and your dog being a more well-balanced, well-adjusted pet, but also for dog sports. And frustration in the early stages is something that I would avoid my dog experiencing. So when they're learning, I want them to be really, really clear about what it is. So that needs to be thought out before I train the dog. Thinking about the environment, thinking about the setup, thinking about reducing distractions, thinking about the reinforcement that I use to keep the dog in that optimum state of learning, okay? So minimal frustration when they learn. As they get proficient with the skill that I'm asking them to do, I can strategically add elements of frustration to their learning to cause them to have to problem solve and to process. What that will do is it will tell me about the dog. And I can look for the dog's way of saying when it's confused, when it's frustrated, when it's stressed, when it's not sure what I want. I can observe signs that the dog shows me. So some dogs are going to shut down and they're going to go into themselves. Some dogs are going to get really aroused and start to get frantic and hectic. I can use the information the dog gives me as an indicator when I move on within my training to more complex skills. I can use that as information to guide me about what the dog is feeling and how the dog is learning. Ideally, obviously, in the early stages, as I mentioned, I'm avoiding frustration, so I shouldn't see this. But what I want to do is expose my dog to slight little bits of frustration so that I can observe, does the dog get shut down? Does the dog lose interest? Does the dog wander off? Does the dog get excited? Does the dog get over-aroused? Does the dog get frantic? And I can then make decisions about how to help the dog process information and to problem solve and to work out how to control and self-regulate their frustration. So when I first do this, the easiest way in which I teach frustration or frustration tolerance is via the medium of shaping, all right? And I shape a behaviour that's very easy for the dog to do. And the behaviour that I consistently shape with my dogs is my dog to get on a large, it happens to be a wobble cushion, and the wobble cushion is considerably larger than the dog that I'm working with. And if it's a puppy, it's very, very easy for them to get on that item without any challenges. So again, minimal frustration. The puppy's going to get that behaviour very easily. If I provide sufficient reinforcement, the dog's going to be wanting to engage to earn the reinforcement, and often when they first do that behaviour, it's very much the dog stumbles along the response. So there's no real conscious thought at that point. But what I'm looking for is the dog showing me that they're registering, they're stepping on the item, is what I want them to do. And I do that by testing them a little bit. So again, challenging them a little bit, trying to lure them off, seeing if the dog makes the decision to remain on the item, okay? Once I've built value for the dog remaining on the item, then I can strategically start to increase the complexity of that. I can change the object and make it slightly smaller. I can put it on an uneven surface. So that in itself may cause the dog to be a little bit frustrated. And I can also add arousal to the mix. So I can challenge the dog by either adding arousal, which can be caused by the reinforcement. Okay, so I can up the level of reinforcement, which can cause the dog to be a bit frustrated, or I can upping, I should say. That should be upping. Oh, my phone's gone to right there. So upping reinforcement, or I can also make the behaviour more challenging. For example, I can reduce the size of the item. So I can make the disc smaller, I can put it on an even surface. Those are just two simple examples. Another example would be adding a little bit of distance, seeing if that could increase the complexity, and that might cause the dog to be a little bit frustrated. Okay, again, I'm doing this so strategically, and when I first do it, it's done incrementally. Okay, so the challenge that I'm presenting to the dog is so simple that the dog hardly has to make an adjustment in its behaviour in order to be successful. And I'm making sure that I provide a really big reward for the dog so that it wants to figure out the problem. It wants to figure out the way through the maze, okay? Over time, what I will do is I'll add challenges to the dog, and I'll cause them to be a little bit more frustrated, or I will reduce the frustration depending on the dog's success rate. And I'm constantly monitoring the dog's body language, the dog's behaviour. Is the dog getting anxious? Is it stressed? And making sure that I'm not exposing the dog to too much. The ideal goal is to ask a little tiny question of the dog where the dog finds a little bit of complexity and it has to furrow its brow and really think about it for a nanosecond and process the information and work its way through it. Often dogs, say for example like my Malinois jungle, she has a very low frustration threshold and she would get frustrated very, very easily, so I had to break the behaviour down into much smaller chunks and make it a lot more easy for her to be successful, or easier for her to be successful. So knowing your dog is a key thing. Your breed's going to give you some indication of that, or the type of dog that you have. High drive dogs are more likely to have a lower threshold of frustration, whereas more low drive dogs are going to be they're probably more likely to shut down or wander off or to disengage. We need to be thinking about controlling the environment. So we want to train in an controlling environment that is free from distractions, that doesn't have any challenges that the dog has to contend with, and therefore the dog is going to be focused on the task at hand. Once the dog develops the ability to work through frustration and problem solve, it's equipping them with the skills to be able to deal with other situations in a thoughtful and a cognitive manner. So the dog is really starting to engage its brain and to process information rather than be reactive. The dog is going to step back and analyse the situation better, because I've incorporated that within its development and within its training. As they develop and they get more confident, I can challenge them in bigger ways, and I can also teach them to think whilst in a heightened state of arousal by asking them to be slightly more excited and still do the behaviour that I'm asked them to. So I'm going to do a little demo with one of my dogs where you can see all this happening in real form, okay? So frustration is something that we steer away. It is something that needs some skills from the trainer's point of view, that you are mindful of the dog's behaviour and the questions that you're asking them. Absolutely avoid frustration in the early stages of the dog's learning, but as they get more proficient and you've built value for the behaviour, you can strategically add frustration to develop the dog's ability to cope with situations that may make them feel uncomfortable or stressed or anxious, and as a way to teach them that by stepping back and processing information and working through it strategically, they're going to be more confident and clear about what it is that you want them to do. If ever there was a time where we needed to develop our own ability to deal with frustration and stress, it would be now more than ever. And it's really important that we do the same for our dogs, to equip them with the skills to be able to deal with situations that they may get uncomfortable with, or learning that may cause them to be a little bit confused or not sure, and have the desire to process the information and persevere through. Whilst a lot of dogs have it naturally to have tenacity, with some dogs we need to develop it, we need to build in resilience so that they have the ability to recover from inevitable errors that we will make and they will inevitably make themselves, all right? So just a brief little lecture there about frustration. I'm going to do a demo with one of my dogs to show you a little bit about how to do that practically, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my website. Okay, I've got my Border Collie puppy here, who you've probably met before in some of my lives, being a bit of a sook. So she's now coming up to 6 months old, and obviously she's done a lot of shaping behaviour. And we've done this exercise with her before, so hopefully she'll be compliant. We don't know, she's a baby, she may make mistakes. The challenges that she's facing is obviously as she's got bigger, getting on the items has become more challenging. So that in itself can cause her a little bit of frustration, because she previously could get on the items and now she finds it more of a struggle, which is a good place to start, which will naturally happen with your puppies. So I'm going to just remind her very quickly of the items to work on, and we'll see how we get on. And then I'm going to add some arousal to the picture and see how she functions with that. All right. So first thing I want to do is just engage her. Ready, steady, yeah. Switch her on. Get the tug. Wee, good girl. Whoa, yeah, get it. Whoa, good one. Whoa, that's it. Well, oh, you can't get it. Oh, that's it. Well, you get it. Yeah, nice one. Ooh, you missed it. So I'm a little bit playing engagement picture. Good. That a good girl. Thank you. Okay, so. Just engage her. Ho, ho, ho. We've got some treats in my pocket. Good girl, get that one. Ho, 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 ho. Yeah, really Get it. Good girl. Good. So just get her engaged in the food a little bit. Good. Okay, so I'm going to start with the blue disc, which is the one that she's very familiar with. So I'm going to see if she offers to go on that. Good. Yay. So rewarding the attempts or the approximations until she puts her all 4 feet on it. So again, a little bit challenging. You can see her there. Yay. Super. Yep. Good. Nice. So clicking her there. Get that one. Nice. 4. Going on with all 4s. Let's do that again. Use yourself in a little stretch. Yay, good. So I'm rewarding her for the attempts, but now I'm going to not reward quite so much on her for her approximations. Good. Yep. Nice. Get that one. And play. Get that one. Whoa. Well done. So, get that tucker. Oh, yes. Whoosh. Good. So a bit of a game there to celebrate. Thank you. Well done. Hop. Okay, so we'll do that one again. So again, limited distractions here, so she doesn't have any, good girl, doesn't have any other distractions to draw her away from. Yep, good, get it, get that one, yeah, nice. So I'm going to move that on now. Whoa, good, yeah, super, thank you, good. So I'm going to now move on to the green football bone. So let's move that there now. So again, slightly more challenges. Good. Yay. Good. So that's good. Yeah, she's got 3 feet on, not 4. Yay. Good. So that's a little bit hard. So a little bit of a challenge there. Good. Nice. Good. So she's still just got 3 feet on. That's a hard one. So you can see a tiny bit of frustration there. Good girl, nice. So she just lost her footing there. A bit further back, that's it. Nice, good girl. So she just lost her footing there. So I'm going to just do, this is also the strength and coordination exercise as well, obviously. Yay. Yay. Nice. You can see a little bit of frustration there, good. Let her figure it out. Good girl. Nice. Good girl. Get it. Yeah. Okay. So because she's just hitting, she's not being clear enough about behaviour. I'm not clicking. Okay. Yeah. Until I see her really make that decision to super. Yay. I'm only going to reward 4 feet on now, so a little bit of wandering off there. Good girl. So she chose to come back in the game. I'm going to reward that choice, that decision. Good girl. So she lost a bit of focus there, so I'm rewarding her for the choice to come back into to engage in the game. Good girl. Put her back feet on. I know, it's a hard one, isn't it? A little bit of a stretch there. Yay! Good girl! Super! Ready? Get up, Wee! Good one! Nice! So she, again, you can see her there struggling a little bit, her little head scratching, trying to work out what I want. Oh, yeah, that's super. Well done. So I'm going to go one more time. That was really good. Whoosh! Whoa! Thank you. Well done. Let's do that here. Okay. Good. Nice. Good. Get it. Yeah. Good. So that time, much more confident, a lot quicker. Yeah. Ready? Get Ooh, we caught it there. Yeah. Gosh. Got it. Get it. Thank you. Okay, this one. Good. Yep. Nice. Really clear that time. Get that tongue out. Good. Oh, good girl. So same behaviour. Go on. Quick. I'm doing on a slightly more challenging object. So, so 4 feet on. Get that. Thank you. Good. So you can see there. Pick that up. Good. how I challenged her from the first object to the second object. Okay, that'll do, good girl. And how I gradually increased the complexity by decreasing the size, changing the orientation or certainly the shape of the object, which in itself can cause a little bit of frustration, and how she worked through it really, really nicely there and was successful, and how I allowed her the space to figure it out. You can see she got a little bit confused at times, but I didn't intervene. I kept rewarding the dog for making good choices and good training decisions, good yay, and how she's now, you can see there how clear she was at the end of that session there. So really, really quick little session there showing you, Hottie, how to begin to teach your dog to deal with frustration. This is typical of the stuff that I cover on my online courses, and if you are interested in signing up, all you have to do is go to kamalfernandez.co.uk and sign up on one of my courses. For the limited time, for this week only, you're going to be able to get access to my VIP groups, my foundation groups, VIP, and my heel work group VIP absolutely free as part of the bonus for signing up for the course. In addition to that, another bonus that I'm offering people, anybody that signs up for both courses will get a really amazing discount of about £245 discount for signing up for both the VIP and heel work course, and you'll get both the VIP access groups on top of that for an amazing discount. So if you're interested in signing up, and hey pup, and getting loads of content like you've just seen, and skills to train your dogs and take your training to the next level, join up. But as I say, for this week only, this bonus is available to anybody that signs up, isn't it, Pops? So from me, from Hottie, enjoy your dogs, have fun, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you all in the VIP groups. There's going to be plenty more for me and my dogs this week, when I let you know about the courses and give you other examples of some of the stuff that I do on my groups. And I look forward to hearing your comments and feedbacks. But for now, check out the website, enjoy your dogs, and enjoy your training. See you later. Good girlie.